Hello everyone, welcome back to the analysis. So this is volume 130. Again, just giving you an insight of what's up ahead this week and also from comparing last week's analysis. Also, I do want to apologize for the late upload, but nonetheless, so we are on Tuesday, preparing ourselves for Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So without further ado, we can see that already through this week with gold, this designated 1760 barrier level has been tapped, and pretty much, we have been waiting for pretty much a buy option, but it really just never came. So what we can look at now is obviously this level at 1680 and just kind of look out for some sales, but we could still potentially look at a minor pullback. So I'm still thinking that we can still push longer up to the upside, but I'm not entirely sure when that's going to happen. So I think even though that we could, be expecting something like this to happen and then the huge rally, it could happen, but I don't really want to, be on the wrong side of the market at this point in time with gold. So I think it kind of just makes sense to just look for sells for now. So what we could expect is something like this, then maybe retesting the 1760 and then drop lower to take out 1680. So pretty much we're going to be looking out for sells really, but we could also potentially anticipate the fact that it could now have a pullback. Now it's broke that 1760 level, so with that being said, it could rock it up a little bit more and then eventually maybe next week drop lower, seeing as it's just been dropping and dropping. But again, that's just something just to keep in mind. But yeah, so if we look now to EU, when the computer loads up, yeah, so we can see here that we've had just a complete drop, like a complete melt from last week. So essentially what I was anticipating was this 1.04 to hold and kind of find some reversal, but we obviously did not find that at all. So what I'm looking at now is just based off how prices responded to 1.04 level. I think it kind of makes sense that we are probably going to progress lower. So even though price has just been dropping and dropping, there needs to be at some point where price pulls back. So again, we could grab some buys there, and again, we don't really necessarily know how far it will pull up, but mainly we're trying to see this continuation lower. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for EU over the next few days or so. But again, setups and everything, it really is dependent upon what the momentum of the candles does. But mainly we're looking for sales, and this is just understanding that there could be a pullback. So whether it's a pullback now or later during next tomorrow or end of the week, it's just something inevitable. And with that, we could look at buys. So this kind of idea kind of plays together with all of the other pairs. So with New Zealand dollar to the US dollar, what I'm thinking here, so as price has just been really chopping sideways, I am thinking that price is eventually going to do some sort of rally to the upside, but again, I'm not entirely sure how strong this reversal is going to hold. So it could come all the way into 0.63 and then break back down, or it could continue dropping further. Obviously we don't really know, but the way that price is right now is just continuously like dropping very slowly to the downside, but we just need to wait for something in regards to momentum just to kind of kick itself up to the upside, and then we can pretty much then determine what's going to happen next. But mainly I'm waiting for this to happen. Now that doesn't mean that I'm going to be looking for buys now, I just need to wait for it to happen. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of anticipating, even though that we are selling off. We could still look for sells, but again, I'm just kind of pretty much anticipating those buys. So again, similar kind of thought processes with AU as well. If I just get rid of this and this, so ultimately, I'm waiting for some sort of bounce or turnaround within the market. I'm not entirely sure if this is the low that's going to be rejected, so 0.67. We just need to wait for some kind of growth momentum, well, bullish candles to the upside, just to kind of prove it, and then wait for the pullback, and then boom, we'll go for it. But yeah, this has really just been chopping sideways, so I'm thinking there's some sort of hesitation and build up happening here for it to swing over to the other side. So I think that's where the momentum is kind of going, and pretty much that's the result with the US dollar pairs. So if we start to look into the Japanese yen pairs, what I'm thinking with this is pretty much, I like this annotation what we drew from last week, where we're looking for price to kind of pull back but ultimately push up higher. So last week, you know, we were looking, well, we were expecting price to push up. Now it's broken up into the highs of 137. You know, maybe something like this again, maybe one final push, maybe not, but essentially if this could also be on the cards as well, even though I've been banging on about this sell-off for a long time and it just had never come. It's never felt like it's actually turned around for us. It could actually be the point where price starts to turn and kind of consolidate all of that bullish momentum that it's received over the last few months and days. So I think it's inevitable that something like this will happen, and I think it does make sense, even though we've just not really had the correct price action to do so. We just have to stay patient with this. So eventually, so ultimately I'm looking at something like this, so this trend line here, and then if I duplicate this to the upside, okay, it's not want to do that then. Let's see if this one works. There we go. So if we then place it on this one, or you could place it on there, probably we'll just do it around here just for like another sake. But yeah, just watching for this channel really, and if we can break this channel, break it lower, break here 131, 134, 133, you know, it could make sense for this kind of price action to happen and kind of unfold. So something like that. Okay, so just keeping a buy and a sell option idea kind of available and not really kind of forcing anything. So let's take a look into CJ. So what I was looking at here was kind of a deeper pullback and then a push to the upside. What I'm kind of noticing here is I've got two ideas with this one. It's quite interesting actually. So what I'm thinking is we could end up seeing price break low into 101. So with that, it's going to be a very direct sell-off within the market, as I'm already analyzing this like midweek, so you kind of have to understand. The other option is we'll break over the highs, and then I'm going to be looking for a retest, and then there is a possibility that we could get a continuation. And then, yeah, something like this. But ultimately, you know, if we do get a sell-off, it's going to end up targeting 101, potentially 100 flat. I'm not entirely sure, but just need to wait for some sort of kind of idea to kind of form into place. And then we can see what's going to go on. Yeah, so that's the idea with CJ. If we take a look into EJ, let's take a look. So what I've got happening here, we're pretty much kind of waiting for some sort of pull towards the upside. So kind of got this analysis wrong here, expecting price was going to rally once more to the upside, but what ended up obviously happening was price completely pushing up higher. And as you can see, there was no real reason to buy anyway. So hopefully you guys didn't get stung out of that one. But in regards to what's happening this week, pretty much I'm waiting for some sort of pullback and then continuation lower. Again, this continuation phase to the upside, you know, it can take a long time. And likewise, the pullback can be any place as well. So it doesn't have to be at 137, it could drop lower and then pull up. Again, we don't really necessarily know until we, you know, pretty much get there. So just need to kind of stay vigilant on that and then see what's to come. For AJ, what I'm thinking here, so yeah, pretty much we're looking for this drop. I quite like this idea. So this is what we had last week actually. So we were around there, 6, 8, 9, 10, 6, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9, yeah, there we go. So about the 10th, so 10, 11, so we start to drop off already through the week, so that would have been a nice trade to get involved with. So most likely now I'm going to be just waiting for price to drop off, break low, break the low into maybe 91, and it could have some kind of temporary reaction, and then we just need to wait for some kind of momentum candle, and then we can start looking at some bullish ideas. That's kind of the key idea that I'm following for now. US dollar Swiss. Okay, so what I was still anticipating is this, where was it, the 10th. So ideally, still waiting for some sort of pullback, but it's just really never have. It's not really come forward, has it? Really. So the idea behind this is, I think it's still gonna. What's the pit range actually for this one? I mean, to say it's been going off and up since the 30th of June. 11 days, 250 pips, not too bad. Again, the thing is, it's if you can stomach that holding time. That's always what I always think about in terms of the pip count in relation to time. Like, 11 days you can pretty much capture that. But anyway, so what I'm currently thinking is the idea that we're gonna have some sort of sell-off to pull back. But this is going to be something that I'm considering, is that one, we could get then this happening, or where basically we get the turn over to the upside, or what could happen is price just continues to melt down. Okay, and so preparing ourselves at this interjunction, basically the sells early on, and just using the $1, the 1.00 flat as a barrier for all sells. I think all sells would be valid until the 1.0 level. If we take a sell, the options are, we could look at something like this. This could happen, and then there is a possibility that price could rally up to the upside turnover, or it could just continue melting. And so if you were able to get some sells in and buys, you're pretty much hedging yourself for the worst case scenario. Again, just my opinions. And then finally we've got USD CAD. So what I'm probably going to be looking for is one or two things. We're either going to get a sell-off to the downside, or we're going to see price rally to the upside. So we'll have one or two things here, and then the other thing is we're going to have something like that. So I'm not really connecting these two together, but I'm just pretty much aligning them into junction, so they can intertwine, or they can be taken individually. You just have to kind of understand what the kind of process of thought is going to be. So yeah, so that's about it. And finally, yeah, that's about it. So again, I do apologize for uploading late, but yeah, we're looking for now. This analysis is going to be obviously valid for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we'll just have to keep the ball rolling and see what's going to come over the next few days. So if you did get value from this video, hopefully you did. Leave this video a like. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you guys all on our next video.